Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Angela Brennan and today I'm bringing you Spellbinders Small Die of the Month, January 2025. This is my first Spellbinders Club Kits for 2025 and I start off with a small die of the month called Soaring Dragonfly. Here are all the pieces that come with the small die of the month die set, and I've just die cut it with various cardstock. Primarily I've used metallic cardstock. Now you could use glitter or you could even die cut everything with white cardstock and then do some coloring, and I show you a little bit of everything here. You've got a couple of wing petals here. You've got a couple of different patterns and I show you how I use both of them, and you've got some tiny flowers to go with it as well. It's a really cute die set and quite easy to put together. And you've got one sentiment that comes with it, which is hello. And here I'm going to show you how I just assemble all of them. And when I do my assembly, I like to use a liquid glue. And the liquid glue I use is the Art Glitter Glue, which has got a nice fine nozzle, and therefore it's easy to direct the liquid glue exactly where I want it. And here I'm just adhering the little body of the dragonfly, and I'm using the media picker tool from Crystal Katana, which really comes in handy to attach all the small die cuts. Now this wing here, it's got a very fine die cut, so I'm going to use my liquid glue and just dot the liquid glue onto it and smudge it onto a scrap piece of paper before I place it onto that solid wing, that white die cut there, because that it won't smudge. The glue dries clear, but I still don't want too much of glue around to smudge the item that I am attaching it to. So smudging it before you attach it really makes a difference. And this is how I'm going to be attaching the little foliage here. Slightly different, so I'm just placing the centers with my media picker tool, and then I've got the flowers which I've done in light pink metallic card. So I think it's rose metallic card, and I'm just going to attach it on top that way. So slightly fiddly, and keeping in mind that metallic card takes a little bit longer to dry because it is a non-porous card. So it does take a little bit longer to dry with the liquid glue. So I would just attach it and leave it aside for about 5 minutes to dry. Next, I've die cut the patterned wings of the dragonfly in 3 different metallic cardstock colors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the individual elements of the pattern on each of the wings and take it from these 3 colors and attach it individually. Now having a media picker tool to do this comes in really handy. Little fiddly. Alternatively, what you could do is you could die cut the entire thing in white card and then color it individually so there's no wastage. It's really up to you, but I wanted to use metallic cardstock for this entire wing, all the wings of the dragonfly, which is why I did die cut the patterns in different metallic gold colors. It's fast enough to put together. You just need to make sure when you die cut it, you use thick cardstock so it doesn't all break away, so the shape of the individual patterns on that wing is inlaid easily. I hope that makes sense. I really hope you find inspiration from this video, and if you do enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. I do lots of Spellbinders Club Kit videos and I'll be releasing them throughout the month, so do wait and check that out. All of the products I use are listed in the description below for your ease of reference. Spellbinders subscriptions are available for you to order from the 6th to the 27th of each month, and I've got all the links in the description below. Here I'm just going to put the dragonfly together. It is a little bit fiddly, especially because I'm using metallic cardstock here and it takes a little while for it to adhere. So you just need to be patient and just press it down for a little while so that it adheres. And it's no particular place that you need to place it, but it just randomly, you've got the 2 larger wings at the top and the 2 smaller wings at the bottom, and you just can choose how far apart you want them to be or at which angle you want to put them in. You just need to make sure you leave them to dry for a little while before you attach them to the card front. I decided to enhance the eyes of the dragonfly with some glossy accents. So I just put little blobs where the eyes are and I leave it to dry. It just takes about half an hour to dry, and then you've got a little bit of dimension for the eyes. For the die cut hello here, I've die cut it in 3 different layers and I'm going to layer it. Whenever there's a sentiment, I like to layer it, and I just dot the glue onto the thin die cut and I smudge it on scrap paper and I place the next layer on. So I've got 2 white die cuts, and the last one, which is going to be at the top, it's the dark color, which is the black, which I'm going to put on the card front. So that's the sentiment ready. Now for the background, I used a 3D embossing folder, which is stylized lattice. I spritz some water behind the card panel before I put it through the embossing machine in the embossing folder, and I put it aside to dry. Now I'm preparing the second part of the sentiment from the clear stamp and die of the month, Nature's Dance. And all of the sentiments, I love the fact that they match the theme of the Spellbinders club kits, but it also comes with coordinating dies. And what I like about sentiments that come with coordinating dies is I can layer it up so there's a little bit of dimension and texture when I put it onto the card front. So I'm going to firstly use my stamping platform to stamp the sub-sentiment, Hope Your Day Takes Flight with Joy. So it goes with the theme of the dragonfly, which is why I like these sentiments that come with the club kits. Now I'm going to stamp it with some pigment ink, black pigment ink, and I'm sprinkling it with superfine clear embossing powder and melt the embossing powder with the heat embossing tool. I like the sentiment to have a shine to it. It also prevents me from smudging the sentiment, which has been stamped with pigment ink. Now because it comes to the coordinating die, I'm going to use the coordinating die and die cut it through my die cutting machine. I die cut extra layers because I want to give the sentiment some dimension when I put it onto the card front, especially the card front, because it's embossed. It's easier to have a little bit of dimension. So a bit like a chipboard, it's quite thick, so it's easier to place and adhere onto the card front. Earlier I spritzed some water in the back of the panel before putting it through the 3D embossing folder. I leave it in the embossing folder under some heavy objects to dry, so it dries nice and flat, and the water really prevents it from cracking because it softens the fibers in the card. Now I've just put some double-sided tape onto the card front, an A6 card front, which measures 14.8 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters, and the panel that I've embossed on is always bigger than the card front, so it's easier to adhere it to the card front, and I just need to use the scissors and cut the excess that sticks out from the card front, and I have a nice flush embossed panel on the card front. And I've put some dimensional tape on the back of the dragonfly, which I've assembled there, so it gives it a nice bit of dimension when it's adhered onto the embossed card panel. For the back of the little flowers as well, I've put just a 1mm foam squares, so there's a little bit of dimension, and it's also easier to adhere onto an embossed card panel. I've got 6 of those, which I've interspersed around and in between the wings of the dragonfly, and it looks quite pretty, and I've used the rose gold color. I wanted to keep all the colors quite muted because metallic card can be quite shiny, so I thought muted colors will go well, and that's why the sentiment I've just used a neutral color like black and white. I'm just going to adhere the hello, and you've got the sub-sentiment there, Hope Your Day Takes Flight with Joy. I like the fact that the sub-sentiment really goes with the theme of this dragonfly card. I hope you really like this card and would give it a go. The great thing about this card is you can use a lot of your scrap cards, and look at the shine of that metallic card. I think it really brings out all the little patterns in the wing of the dragonfly. Do let me know what you think of this card. I'd love to hear from you. For the next card here, what I'm doing is I'm going to show you when I die cut the wings with glitter card, how I use the inner parts of that wing patterns as well as the outline of the pattern. So here I've just put glue on the internal bits. So I'm going to press it down, and then I'm going to remove the outline of the pattern very carefully once the bits have dried onto that wing. So here you've got a different pattern, and then I've die cut the solid wing there in VELLUM, which is a translucent paper, and then I'm just going to put the outline of the pattern again, making sure I smudge it onto a scrap piece of paper before I place it onto the VELLUM very carefully so you get 2 for 1 here, so you're not wasting anything. So this glitter card is quite precious, so I'm making sure I get 2 wings out of it, and that is one way to do it as well. So you'll see I do it quite a few times. And here is a different wing pattern here. I've die cut everything in white cardstock and I'm placing it onto my stamp wheel. The stamp wheel has got a sticky mat, so you don't have to use a stamp wheel. You can use any sticky mat that you have, and there are quite a few sticky mats in the market. So to place these little die cuts onto the stamp wheel, so it'll allow you to color them. So I'm going to use my Altenew Crisp Dye inks to do some coloring. I'm using the 4 scoops inks when you start off with mango smoothie. So I want to go with pastel colors. So I'm using my small blending brush to apply ink onto these tiny white die cuts. So having a sticky mat really helps. And this is Peach Parfait, which is a light orange color. And I'm going in with a pink, which is Cotton Candy. They're tiny pieces, so easy enough to apply ink. And this is Ocean Waves, a really nice light blue. And finally, for the tiniest part, I'm going to use the dark chocolate, which comes with the 4 scoops die set as well. And once I've done that, it's just a matter of just assembling them onto that solid wing. And here's where my media picker tool comes in really handy, and you just need to adjust it accordingly. And I continue to do that. It's a little bit fiddly, yes, but I do like the fact that it looks really pretty when you get those patterns in. So you can either do it this way, or you can die cut it with colored paper using all your scrap cardstocks that you have. Because this is the great thing about this kind of die cutting. You can use all the tiny pieces of cardstock that you have. And there you go. I'm just going to assemble these. So for the eye of the dragonfly, I decided to add a bit of ink before I place the top part of the head. And then I've got blue eyes. You can use a marker as well. It's up to you. And then I'm going to give some dimension to the eyes by putting a couple of blobs of glossy accents and leave it to dry. Here I've die cut the wings with the solid white card, and I'm going to do a bit of ink blending. I'm going to go from a blue, green to yellow, bit of ink blending on the wings using Altenew inks. I use a few different shades here. I think I used 2 blues, a green and a yellow, just to get a gradation. I do like the color combination of blues going into teals and greens and ending up with a light yellow at the tip of the wings. So this is another way you can color the wings. You can either leave the wings just colored like that, or you can add the outline that you can die cut and place it onto the wings that you have ink blended. And I do that. I do that cut the outline with some gold glitter card, and I get a 2 for 1 because I used the inlaid patterns also for another set of wings for the dragonfly, and I place the outline gold glitter card onto those wings. Now it's about assembly. Here is a 2D embossing folder of January 2025, faceted petals. I've already embossed it. Now you need to remember when you do a 3D embossing folder and a 2D embossing folder, it's a different sandwich. So remember the sandwich that you need to use with your embossing machine. So I've embossed it, backed it with some thin foam sheet and placed it onto the card front. And here I've pasted some foam squares at the back of that dragonfly and assembled it here, as I mentioned, with some glitter gold card. And there you go. I've got a sentiment hello with a sub-sentiment from the clear stamp of the month. And here you can see the shine come through with that glitter card as well as that ink blending on those wings. I love this card and how it turned out. And I do add additional flowers, as you'll see later on when I show you all the cards. Here's another card I've done here. This is a larger card, 5 inch by 7 inches. And here are the 2 dragonflies that I've created. So I've not wasted those glitter cards. So the pattern I put on those wings are from those inlaid parts of those outline from those wings. And I'm going to place a black and white sentiment here. I've got a sub-sentiment from the clear stamp of the month and the hello die cut that comes with a small die of the month. Initially, I want to place the hello die cut at the top of the card, but I decide to place it together with the sub-sentiment. As usual, because it's a thin die cut, I have double or triple layered it, smudged it, and then I'm going to place it just above the sub-sentiment. And there you go, the card's done. I like the fact I'm not wasting any of that glitter card, and I do get an amazing couple of dragonflies here. And the glitter from that glitter card, the shine from the glitter card looks lovely. And here are the 5 cards that I've created. This is the first card I created. And this card here, I added some flowers to go. I like the little flowers. This is my favorite card. Let me know which is your favorite card of the 5. I really liked how that ink blend turned out. And here the pastel colored card, very simple. I did stamp the sentiment before I did the embossing in these 2 cards here. So that's a different way to do it. Stamp the sentiment and then emboss it. You can still read the sentiment, or you can do your embossing and then stamp the sentiment and die cut it and adhere it. So you can see I've not wasted the blue glitter card and the gold glitter card from the wings, and you get an extra set of dragonflies. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. Go get your Spellbinders subscriptions now. It is available from the 6th to 27th of each month. Thank you so much for stopping by. Happy crafting, and I'll catch you at my next video. Do take care.